Oh, whoops, LinkedIn. Oh, it doesn't matter. Right. Hello. My name is Charlotte, and I am the founder of Exhale. Exhale is the UK's first mind body class to combine meditation with movement and with music that you know and you love. So we always say there's no whale music, there's no panpipes. Not that we've got a problem with them, but we just rather hear chart classics. We'd rather hear Ibiza classics. And there's no guru status teachers around here. And part of us doing Exhale TV, this is the second episode, it's just to show that we're real normal people going through real normal stuff. We're having beautiful conversations in this space. We're using technology to support us. It would really help us if you could, when you hop on, if you say hello to us, if you hop over to StreamYard, if you've not already registered your details with them, and then they'll show me and Sarah comments as they pop up. But if you've not registered with StreamYard, we won't be able to see it afterwards. So if you comment and we don't respond in the moment, that is fine. We will get back to you eventually. We love hearing what people have to say as we have these conversations. The other thing I really wanted to ask people to do, and I forgot to do this last time, was if you watch us on the replay, so after it's been live, if you can just put hashtag replay, that would be awesome. So today's conversation is a conversation I feel is so important, but at this time period in 2020, but nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to have these kind of conversations. And I think that's part of what makes grief and life after loss so difficult. The reason I wanted to do it now is it's been so much loss this year. We've lost, there's been physical loss. So for myself, there's been people that I've lost, but there's also been a real sense of loss of our reality, loss of our identity in a lot of ways, because part of how we form an idea or a belief about who we are is how we operate in society, and we've been trapped in our houses. We're unable to do those things that kind of define who we are. So there's a real sense of loss of ourselves. So, and a loss of certainty, which is one of our basic human needs. You know, we need to feel like there's something that we can build on, there's a firm foundation that we can plan, that we can move forward, and everything's just so up in the air. There's just this overwhelming sense of grief for what went before COVID. And also, as I say, just that for those people that have suffered loss, like physical loss, it's just been particularly difficult. So we thought it was a really important time to have this conversation. But what and reason why I want to do it myself is because I've lost 2 people in the space of 6 months. So at Christmas, I lost my longest, oldest, best friend out of the blue, absolutely no warning to that at all. And then that was in the December, and then in the May, I lost my dad. So I'm talking to you, and Sarah will be talking to you from a place of, we understand our own journey, we've been there, but everyone's grief is different. So that's the first thing I want to clarify, is that everyone's grief journey is different. Everybody experiences grief in a really different way. But also the second thing that I really wanted to say was that I'm not an expert, I'm not a mental health professional, and if you need support, we will put links to people that can support you in the comments. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Like, we're going to make it really like uplifting as best we can, even though it is a heavy topic, and really try and talk about how we are learning to live again. That's the title, really, despite the losses that we've had. So that's my little intro. So I want to then bring your attention to, on my right, the beautiful Sarah from Exhale South and East Essex. So Sarah, do you want to quickly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, so we can get a feel for what makes you you, but also your journey with meditation? Where did that begin?
So hello everyone, I'm Sarah. I run Exhale South East Essex. I am married. I've got 2 young boys, one at school, one at preschool, so it's all a bit crazy around. Oh, there they are. Oh, which way am I pointing? I've got a part-time job, and my passion, absolute passion, is exhale. So my meditation journey started following the loss of my dad. He'd been ill for a couple of years, and it was my way of coping. And I'd been looking for something, and then I found this wonder of meditation, and it just helped me. Exhale itself, when I found meditation, so as much as meditation I knew was beneficial, I could feel the benefits, I knew that it was just incredible. There's so much out there with meditation. So you've got guided meditations, you've got all different types of meditations. And to begin with, I was just sort of flitting from this into that. And I loved it, but I hadn't found a proper practice until I found Exhale. So I just wanted to give you my reasons and my passions for Exhale. It allowed me to secure a practice that I didn't need an app for. It's something that I could practice myself. And I still love the guided meditations, and I still dabble with them, and they're very much part of some Exhale sessions. But for me, it just secured my practice every single day. So yeah, that's me.
That's what I think is so powerful about what we do, as you say, is that yes, we do incorporate lots of different types of meditation, and as you say, there's so much out there. Like, you can log onto YouTube right now and do a guided meditation, but what we need most in the world now is to have this little tool that's away from technology. I see it as like a little tool that you put in your backpack, and I'm just carrying it there with me, even just like the learning to breathe like really deeply and fully to kind of calm and settle your nervous system. Like that, no one can take that away from me. And I think until I'd sort of discovered what I call self-led meditation, which is primarily what we practice and what we teach at Exhale, I found it really difficult because, as you say, you're reliant on your phone, or you're reliant on a teacher, you're reliant on the internet. Whereas now, as you say, it's so powerful because it's something that you can just take with you and no one knows you're doing it either.
It's perfect. It really is. Yeah, the tool is for life. Yeah. And that's what's so wonderful about it.
Good. So to bring us on to our topic then, so grief, loss. So you lost your dad 3 years ago.
Yes, 3 years ago now.
Yes, so I know the anniversary is coming up this Saturday as well.
Yeah.
You can go back to like when you first lost your dad. Like what emotions sort of came up for you? Because I know for me, I sat for a long time, and I'm still, if I'm really honest, I probably still am there. I'm in like kind of anger stage. So we talk a lot about, and there's a lot of reading, if you wanted to read up on it, about the different stages of grief. And I think for a lot of people, you'll experience them all. Some people won't experience any of them, like sort of up here. They might not be consciously aware of what stage of the grief process they're in. But for me, I'm stuck in the anger bit. So and it's difficult, it's heavy. And I think part of that anger sort of comes from, I found it like, and I don't know if you agree to this or not, I found it a little bit like it was a betrayal to his memory to continue living normally. So I couldn't understand why I was struggling and suffering and had all this pain, and the outside world was continuing as normal. So I just got this massive sense of anger and bitterness, a little bit like, why me? Almost like that victim mode. And I think for me, part of that has come from the fact that I've lost two people quite close together, and I probably hadn't properly dealt with losing Natalie initially, and then we moved forward into losing my dad. But as I say, like I felt like it was a little bit of a betrayal.
Yeah.
Like, how is everyone continuing on and I'm still like that, like so angry and annoyed at the world? So do you want to take me, if I just quickly overview of what the stages of grief are? So most people experience like a sense of denial or shock, and then we move into anger. You might experience then some deep depression, some deep pain. You sort of move through that into like bargaining. So like and quite often the bargaining stage happens before that you even lose that person. It's kind of like, if this person can live, then I'll do anything to bring that person back. and then moving forward into acceptance, when you can start to think about the future, I guess, and like have hope. And like I say, it's not a linear process, and some of it you might not have experienced at all. But can you talk to me just about like what the big emotions were that you experienced back then, I guess?
Yeah, it's really strange process with my dad's passing. It wasn't it sounds really strange. It was a planned passing. He chose when he sort of had his equipment turned off. So you can imagine we'd had sort of 2 years leading up to a deterioration of the most kind, the fittest person. And then for him to literally have to pick a day. So we had a week before just waiting for this specific moment to happen. So I was dealing with a hell of a lot even before. I felt like my grief process had started a long time previously, and then I just lived the week like leading up to that moment.
Yeah.
It just happened, like life was just happening and there was nothing I could do about it, and I wanted it to stop.
Yeah.
I just wanted it to stop. And I won't go into details of the moment and stuff like that, but I felt like I was drowning. And then after, the sorrow, like the loss, the general things that you would absolutely expect to feel. But the things that I wasn't expecting was the guilt. I felt guilty because all of a sudden I was like, like some of it was, obviously it was for my dad, like thank goodness he didn't have to go through that anymore. But part of it was like, I can now focus on my newborn child, and just adjusting to that guilt of these feelings that I had about potentially positives that had come out of my dad passing.
Yeah.
Was something that I really struggled with, and I drove myself quite mad. And the anger, I did feel angry. I felt angry with myself. There were other issues surrounding my dad. We had a lot of family issues going on. I felt anger towards certain people. And I just really, I felt, all I can explain it, I was in this black hole, and I just wanted to be able to look after my children and to just feel normal again, and just, I just wanted my dad back.
Yeah.
So there were, I would say the predominant feelings obviously was the sorrow, the anger,
Yeah.
and the guilt.
It's really interesting, isn't it? And that's perhaps something that people don't expect that you would feel, but I absolutely understand that feeling of relief in a way. And I know that people, if they're watching the, if they've been in a situation where someone's been poorly for a long time, there is that element of like, okay, because up until that point you're waiting for it. The waiting is horrendous, isn't it? So there is, it's difficult battling with that feeling, and also, like you say, that guilt of just like, I just don't know if my life is ever going to feel the same again, and I want it to feel like it did. It's really difficult, and just everything. I just really get that feeling, as you say, of that drowning, like the world is still continuing and swirling around you, and you're just in the midst of it. Like I need to hold on to something. It's like that need to control something, I guess, because that's taken out of your control.
And you've got all these responsibilities. My life couldn't stop for my children. Like, it had to carry on, and I wanted them. I was very honest and open with my older one about what had happened and stuff. I felt like I had to be honest, and obviously he was experiencing it. We were living in a hospice for a week before my dad passed. But I would say, overall, I felt like I was actually traumatized within, and I genuinely felt like this trauma from everything, from the build up, from the loss, from all of the family stuff that had happened, would never leave me. And I felt like I would never ever be the same person again. Yeah, sure, I could have gone out and put a mask on and pretended that everything was okay, but I never thought I'd find that inner joy ever. So it's quite I'm sure we all experience losses, and like you said, Charlotte, they're all going to be very individual journeys, but there is light at the end of the tunnel.
I think you you have to like allow yourself to feel what you feel, and it comes in waves, doesn't it? So it's very, and as I say, as you've just reiterated again, like it's different for everybody, and there's no timeline for it. There's no like, oh yes, by X amount of months you will now feel like this. Like it's so individual and it's so circumstantial as well, and that makes it more difficult. But I think just having these kind of conversations where you're like, do you know what, I felt that too, or like this is normal, or this came up for me, and even if that other person hasn't felt it, there's still that kind of, that's one weird thing about grief, I suppose. If like you meet somebody else that's been through it, it's almost like, oh yes, can we talk about it? Because nobody wants to talk about this stuff, but I suppose with us, because they're thinking, oh my gosh, it might upset her, or it's difficult to have that conversation, but I do feel like it's a continued journey towards not trying to get your life back how it was, which is what I originally kind of was aiming for. It's just kind of like how to move forward without that person in your life, and how to continue your story with that person, which I'll come on to in a minute. But I think for me, my spiritual practice and my meditation practice has really helped me with those big emotions of like anger to begin with, because they're allowing me to just, that's still like the undercurrent is there, but when it feels really overwhelming, those emotions sort of wash over you. Like my practice, even just simple breath, breathing in through the nose, the tummy expands and release slow and steady through the mouth, like even that just gives you just a break from that sense of drowning. It like gives you like that firm foundation that you can just settle upon, and then like it might not last very long, but just in that moment you feel okay again, and then you can take a little step forwards. And what I found really powerful for me at the moment is the type of meditation practice which we're bringing into our power up sessions, our morning and our lunchtime sessions that we're going to be introducing, is what I call heart opening meditation. And what that actually does is it takes you beautifully easily to a place of gratitude, which when you're in the midst of that drowning in grief, like gratitude is so far removed from your reality. Like, how can I be grateful for what I've got when this thing has happened to me, So the heart opening meditation for me has really allowed me to go to a place where I can connect with life again. And this is why I've sort of called it learning to live again, because as I said before, I felt very strongly like I can't go and be happy. Like I just felt like that was wrong of me, like it was a betrayal. But going to that place where you open your heart, you're full of gratitude, full of joy, and reconnected to your heart, the very thing that gives you life. I think there's something really magical in that. And all of a sudden, every time I go to do that practice, I come away thinking, oh my gosh, it is a gift. It is a gift to be alive, and the only betrayal here, the betrayal to his memory and to my friend's memory, is not like continuing to live and be happy, like without them here. Like that's not betraying them. Living and not celebrating, not like living to your full potential, not making the most of the gift that is life, that is the betrayal. So for me, if anyone is really struggling in terms of like, how do I like get happy again, please contact an Exhale instructor to learn how to do heart opening meditation. As I said to you, I'm still in the midst of like the anger and the like ness of it, but when I do that, it's like I'm renewed again. It's like pressing a reset button. So that's how meditation's kind of helped me in those two ways. So it's like calms me down so I can just have a firm foundation to work from, so I can still be a mom, so I can still run a business, so I can still do whatever. But also this new heart opening meditation like makes me want to like feel motivated and do stuff. So talk to me about how meditation has helped you on your grief journey.
For me personally, it helped. I guess it helped me reconnect. So help me reconnect with me. And like you say, like discover gratitude. A massive part for me was forgiveness.
Yeah.
Forgiveness for the situation, forgiveness for anything that I had felt guilty for, but also forgiveness for people and situations that happened that I still, at the time, I just couldn't believe were happening, and I had so much resentment towards. And I used a lot of metta meditation, and basically giving love again from the heart and just really feeling it. And I forgave things, I forgave people, I forgave myself. I never thought I would be able to do that. I was always pre meditation quite an angry person, and would be like, I am never forgiving, like, how would, this situation is just wrong and I will never ever let it go. And now it's like, hey, let it go. And I felt alive, I felt lifted, I felt light for the first time in a long time. And meditation itself, it opened up a whole new world to me, a whole new world. It helped me discover Reiki, it helped me discover exhale, it opened me up to so many different things that have changed my life. And that is why I'm so passionate about this, I mean, it was still raw. I still miss my dad. I still would love to sort of see him and phone him and all of that stuff. But it's just allowed me to continue my life in a different way and adapt and enjoy life. It is possible.
Yeah, I love that. I think I'm just listening to you speak, like I can see how like passionate you are about it. And I think that's something that, like even just to have that spark back, even just to have that, like that passion for something, is amazing, in the midst of everything that's gone on. And for you, it was such a big build up as well, which is massively difficult. But that is something that, I'm really proud of in terms of when we first spoke about why you came to Exhale and how meditation's helped you. I was like, oh my gosh, that, like it's so powerful. Like this is why we do what we do, because it's not about people saying, oh God, I haven't got time just to go and switch off. Like I haven't got time to just go and relax for half an hour. I'm like, no, it's more than that. Like, trust me, it's more than that. Like these things, these practices that we teach help people out of these holes of grief. They help us navigate life, and they help feel, like you said it, alive. Like it's amazing. So,
and I guess as well, very quickly, the trauma part of it that I spoke about, the trauma journey and the grief journey allowed me to see that trauma. It flipped it. So it just allowed me to see it as a life journey and actually incorporate it in a positive way in my life. So it's totally flipped that trauma into something that I've built a new foundation on now. And I just feel like it's so powerful. And I never thought that I would ever get to a point in my life, never mind 3 years down the road, being here with you, talking about it. So it really is amazing.
So powerful. And I think it's like, and I suppose the caveat is, trauma is so difficult. So please do make sure, we're not saying just meditate, everything's going to be fine, like do make sure that you're fully supported by your mental health professionals or just your friends and your family, just talk. But I do feel that like there's no doubt about it. It will aid you on your journey and that continuing kind of legacy of grief with that person and continuing that story. There's no way around it really. Like it is powerful. It's going to help you, but please do make sure you're supported. So one of the biggest things for me that I'm still sort of working through is, I think, and I said this to you just before we came on, like you think before you lose somebody that's really significant in your life, you sort of think, oh, well, they'll be sad for a bit and then you'll be okay. But like actually it is adapting to a new way of living and almost a new identity without that person that kind of supports who you are. So, and I remember one of the things that I've struggled with in terms of losing my friend, like this is one of my oldest, longest friends that I actually hadn't spent much time with before she passed, like just because of life, you know, she had very small children and my child's a little bit older and I'm so consumed with work and everything. You just think you've got time, you know, you think you've got enough time to like to do things with that person and to make more memories. And I think when she went, one of the things that really struck me was I was like fuming again. This is a theme. I was fuming because I was taken back to this point where we'd gone to Blackpool for the day, and there is a point to this story. Gone to Blackpool for the day, and we'd had a gorgeous day together. At the end of the day, we said, "Shall we go and do?" I can't remember what she's called, but you know, like one of the tarot, just like tarot readers. You've probably not been to Blackpool because you're not northern, but there's like it's a bit tacky, but it's a bit nice as well. It's quite good fun. They have like fortune tellers on the front. So we're like, should we just go and see a fortune teller? Anyway, we did, and we went in, and the lady said to us, you know, like, you two are going to be friends forever. You're going to grow old together, friends. And we were like, oh my gosh, yeah, amazing. And we knew, like, we believed that. And then I remember being struck after she went. It was like, well, hang on a minute. I was supposed to have this friend for like forever. Like she was supposed to be my ride or die, you know, kind of like right there. And then suddenly she's gone. And I think for me, part of healing from losing my friend is learning that story can still continue, even though she's not physically present, you know, because grief is, I love this quote, grief is love with nowhere to go. So if we can continue that story with that person, then you're able to continue giving that love and exchanging that love and receiving that love. And then that kind of almost eases the pain somehow. So long way around the houses is, and I'll come on to a little bit more about me in a minute, but for you, Sarah, like how do you continue your story with your dad?
Yeah, well, that's where a bit of the meditation comes in again, to be honest. I felt like, I remember I went to the first experience, I went to a gym class and they had just a little bit of relaxation at the end. And all of a sudden my dad was, all I can explain it as is it's the first time I'd experienced it. My dad's image was just flashing through my mind and he was there. So I basically experienced like my dad's smile. It was full of love, like, and it was just this vision, but it wouldn't go. And I was just overcome with like an outburst of tears and I had to leave this class. But at the same time, I was like, wow, that was pretty incredible. And I guess where meditation has opened up a whole new sort of world for me, it's enabled me to continue my journey and just basically build a new relationship with my dad. So as much as he's not physically here, and like I said, he's not on the end of the phone, he's around me. I can feel him, and there's been meditations. My dad was he was a police motorcyclist, and he was always there in his big leathers, and sometimes it was really cool when he'd come and pick me up from school. And it's stuff what I remember had happened as a kid, and I was like, oh, I liked going on his motorbike. But there was a meditation that I was having and memories would come up, but they weren't just memories. It was feelings. I could remember the leather. I could remember feeling round his waist. I could remember the smell. It's like the memories that like so vivid. And I always sort of come back from those being like, wow, dreams. And even signs, like I'm all for signs now. So, and I see them everywhere. If you put it out there, for me, my belief, I just feel my dad around. And signs are very personal to you. So yeah, you can go on Google and be like, what does that mean? But just feel what these signs mean. You know, there was a time when my boys were in the bath and there was a bubble, and it was so my dad's sense of humor. There was a bubble. and it was floating around the bathroom. And we were like, when's it going to pop? When's it going to pop? When's it going to pop? It came to every single one of us, and we were like, whoa, 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 what? No. And it was so even stuff like that, I was like, oh, that was pops. And we were all laughing about it, and it was going on and on for ages. And just signs, just being able to feel him again and be around him. That's my journey. That's my journey now.
And allowing yourself to be open to that, I guess. And I think some people it can feel really scary, I guess. Like it is a bit of the unknown, but like it's so worth letting yourself trust. I always talk about this, but we come to this earth like fully trusting, fully believing in all of the magic and all of the beauty that there is in the world, and I think as we get older we lose that connection to that. And I think it's just so worth allowing yourself time to settle and to be, I think when we come to that settled point where nothing feels as scary, when we're stressed, everything is scary because that's how the brain works. If you're already in that stressed out state, then the brain is going to, I was talking about this on Tuesday, but the brain's going to reject or resist anything that feels uncomfortable or new or different. So I think just allowing yourself time just to sit to begin with, and calm, use that breath, and just coming to your firm foundation, settling, like simmering down a little bit first. And then I think the more that you meditate, the more that you are, for me anyway, it reconnects me to my belief that there is magic in the world, that like when you meditate, and you'll know yourself, like there's no other way to describe it other than it feels like you're touching heaven. It's so blissful. It's like pure joy. There's no fear, there's no doubt, there's no worry, but it feels like otherworldly. There's more to life than what I can physically see here. So every time I go into meditation, it strengthens that belief for me. So then when I do miss my dad, or I do miss my friend, or I need some comfort, just, I'm all about angels and all that kind of stuff as well. I'm able to bolster my belief. The more I meditate, the more I believe. And the more that I am then attuned to seeing these signs, as you say, because it would be really easy to pass things off as coincidence or to not even notice them in the first place because we're so busy. So I think apart from anything else, just a meditation practice, opens you up to the possibility that there is more there. Is a spiritual experience, whether we like it or not. We get a lot of corporate clients meditating with us, don't we? And very sort of straight-laced, like scientific people. But whether we like it or not, meditation is a spiritual practice at the end of the day. But also just allowing yourself to slow down, pause, be less busy, so that you can see these signs, so you can feel these signs, and so you can notice things. Like I notice little rainbows and things all the time. That's a really big sign for me. And just even like songs on the radio, I don't know if you get that as well, but I like turn the radio on, or I'll turn my Spotify playlist on. It's on shuffle, and the song that comes up, you're like, really, like in this moment, that is exactly what I needed to hear. So I think find meaning in things which give you that comfort, and whether it's kind of like coming from within or whether it is something bigger, who cares? Because actually it makes me feel better. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Totally.
Gorgeous, isn't it? So we've been on, I think this is what happens, we've been on 33 minutes. So let's start thinking about wrapping it up, because this is such a big topic, isn't it? Because we can talk forever. But really, what I wanted to ask you, I suppose, is, because you're a little bit further down the line from me, if you could have one tip that you wanted to share with somebody in terms of like, how do you continue this relationship? How do you also exist? How do you keep moving forward? Like when things are really shit, because with grief it is very like, here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there, I feel good, I don't feel good. Like when you're in the mix of that, what's the one thing that you could share with people? What's going to make a difference?
Reconnecting with yourself. It's such a powerful tool. to sort of be able to do to reconnect. You've got everything you need within. Meditation itself, and exhale, obviously, with all of the sort of things that are incorporated, the movement and the breath work, it all brings you back to you. You've got it all in here. It's healing. It doesn't mean that you're going to go to one meditation session and everything's going to be fixed, because as we've explained, this is a journey and it's a lifelong journey. I'm still very much learning, and I still grieve my dad. I still do, but it's just in a different way. So yeah, it's about reconnecting with you, just coming back to all that is, really, all that is within. You have everything. Obviously get support. I'm not saying don't do that, but if you're there and you just need a moment, you just need some time, just bring it back. Just bring it back to the breath, bring it back to you, and do obviously reach out to anyone if you did need anything. But allow yourself that time to feel that it's normal. They're normal feelings, and they will pass. They'll come up again, but then they'll pass. It's not forever. So you may feel like you're never gonna ever feel again, but you will. I promise.
Oh, it's beautiful, that, actually, and it's nice to hear. As I say, I could have brought anyone on to talk about this, because all of the instructors understand like how powerful meditation is. But I think to have you talk about it, and you're almost you're not out the other side, because as we just said, it's like a lifelong journey. But you know, you're further down that path, if you like, and actually doing amazing things in the world, you know. And it feels to me like you've used your grief as power, you know. Like, pain is so motivating, and I think one of the biggest things for me, and I know this is sort of really prevalent in my brother at the moment, but I don't know whether he's aware of it or not, but you know, like when you lose somebody, it kind of like propels you to really like think about what's important in my life, it's like motivating. And like, I'm watching my brother now, and he's like starting a whole new life, and he's gone to Wales, but he's also like just really healthy. He's like working out, you know. I think we can use that. Sit with, don't bury anything. I think that's important to say as well. You know, we can cry. That's important. We can feel the anger, we can feel the pain, we can feel all that stuff, but also like we're able to step forward and use that pain for good, you know. And just, yeah, it really forces you to reassess like where you are, what needs to change, and what we can do. And also, like I said before, just like you've got to see life as a gift, you know. And we're privileged. What privilege to actually be alive. And somebody posted something on Instagram maybe today or yesterday, and it was, you know, like the whole time I'm like moaning about 2020, but actually what a privilege to like be alive and to experience what we're experiencing, because there's so much growth, there's so much learning to be had. But just, I think for me, that's the biggest thing. It's like, if you can open your heart to be able to move forward and love and experience joy again, but also to reach for the stars. You know, we settled, don't we? Think we've got forever. And I think when my friend went, and then again when my dad went, it's a little bit like, okay, you think you've got longer to make all this magical life that you know that you want, but we don't. So, but all of it very normal, and all of it very roller coastering. So to finish up, go on. Sorry,
I was just going to say, I hadn't said this previously, but the other thing, that the place that I'm at now in my sort of journey, as much as I still have sad times, I can look back and smile. I can look back and laugh, and I can look back and feel love and happiness at mine and my dad's relationship. And that was another thing that I never thought I would get back. I thought I'd always be in that moment of sorrow. So sorry, I just wanted to put that in there because I thought it was quite important.
It's so important, isn't it? Because and I totally relate to that, because I'm kind of still in that stage of like I just can't see like a glimmers of like of it, but like I'll keep getting pulled back. And I think that's the thing, it's like you've got to keep climbing out again. Just keep making your bed in the morning. Just every day is a new day, it's a new opportunity to but support yourself. So talk, have these kind of conversations, and also use the tools that we've got available to us. And I think really important, we've not said yet, but meditation is actually bloody easy. It's easy. It's easy. Like when you do it the way we do it, is easy. There's no, like I said, there's no whale mute, there's no panpipes, there's no like stuffiness, there's no rules. You have to sit upright. You can just lie down with an eye mask on. We'll talk to you. You know, like it can be super easy, but you've got to kind of make the choice to want to be there in class, which leads me beautifully, what do they call that, like a seamless link to your classes. So tell us when, I mean, this would be amazing for anyone that is like in the depth of grief, and that, like we said right at the beginning, it can be like you've lost your job, you know, or a pet or whatever. It doesn't have to be like massive sort of grief, you know, it's all relative, isn't it, you know? But it'd be beautiful for them to be able to come to your class in particular. So tell us when you are teaching and how we can get you.
So currently my in-person, which I believe we've had the tiers now, I believe can start back up on the 8th. So on a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, for those of you in Hockley Public Hall, that's where my in-person classes are currently taking place. I will be doing another online one next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. And my online schedule is just up in the air at the moment. I haven't secured when would be best for my online clients, so I'm going to sort of put it out there, but I will be doing an in-person on a Tuesday and then potentially a Wednesday online, but keep an eye on my page for more information.
Yes, the link is there. That's your handle. Oh,
yes,
there.
That one.
That's it.
Yeah.
Handle. But if anybody, if anyone wants to contact any of the instructors, we will do our best to find you a session that works. We'll also pop, so once you've figured it out when you're going to do your classes, Sarah, why don't you pop in the comments? We'll also pop in the comments, so we'll have your booking link. We'll have a link to all of the other amazing instructors that we have. We will also pop in some links to people that can support you if you are struggling. But yeah, I think that's what I mean. Literally, again, could talk about it for hours, but that's just so healing in itself, you know, just to have a conversation that nobody else wants to have with you, you know. So it's been a pleasure to have you join me. Thank you so much. And the replay will be all over the show. We'll post it wherever we can. That's it. So have a beautiful day. And let's see, somebody did comment. Oh, Nicola is saying, oh, hang on, let's have a look. Oh, look. Amazing. How posh is this? So Nicola, that's gorgeous. She says, thank you for discussing this. So incredibly important and so brave of you both. That's beautiful. So if anyone else wants to let us know what they thought, please do. And we will see you all soon. Later.
Bye.